So today we're going to talk about my probate horror story. Let's get into it. Hey guys, Elliott Feldman here, estate planning attorney at the Elliott Feldman Law Group, where we create estate plans that actually work when your loved ones need it most. If you ever have any questions about this topic or need to talk about your estate planning needs, you can schedule a time to talk with me over the phone for free by going to myestatemeeting.com. So today we're going to talk about my probate horror story, but before we get into that, let's quickly touch on what probate even is. If you die with assets still titled in your name, like a house or a car or a bank account, etc., then your family will be required to go to probate court in order to transfer assets out of your deceased name and into their own name based on who you named to get those assets in your will, or based on the Ohio intestacy laws, which is the state government's default rules that dictate who gets title to your assets after you die with assets in your name and you had no will in place. This court process takes a minimum of 6 months, but usually lasts 9 to 18 months and can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, sometimes more, sometimes less, but either way, it's not cheap. Now, what happened with my probate horror story? Well, it started with my father, who wanted to make sure my mom and I would actually stay out of probate court and out of conflict if anything were to happen to him. So he sought out a very well-known estate planning lawyer in town to help create his estate plan, and this lawyer had a great reputation, worked at a top firm, had decades of estate planning experience, so everything was going to work out just fine. Well, years later, when my dad died unexpectedly in his late 40s, I was only 7 at the time, and my mom still had to go through 2 years and 9+ months of probate court and had to pay her probate attorney $55,000 by the end of it. Turned out my dad never transferred his assets into his trust to make it work correctly, and neither did his estate planning lawyer. So ultimately he died with all of his assets still in his name, and my mom still had to go through probate court. But my probate horror story and what happened to my mom is not the only probate horror story. Unfortunately, there are tens of thousands of stories just like it. Stories like where mom and dad pass away and their children are fighting in court over whether, one or the other has the right to sell mom and dad's home, which causes the children to never speak to each other again for the rest of their life, a family torn apart. Or stories like where mom and son have been living together in the home that the son grew up in all of his life, and they were both sharing in the task of paying the mortgage. One day, mom passes away with the home still in her name when she died, so now the son finds out that he's got to probate her estate, including the home, over the next 6 months or longer. He can't afford the mortgage payments as a single income earner, so ultimately he goes to the bank, tries to get a refinance on that mortgage to get the monthly payments down. The bank tells him, son, I'm sorry, but since your mom's home is tied up in probate court, we can't refinance the mortgage to get that monthly payment lower. You're just going to have to figure it out. Probate court process drags on, son can't keep up with the payments and now has to turn over the keys to his beloved home to the bank, who ends up selling it at auction. The family home is lost forever. If you have your own probate horror story, please share it with us down in the comments below. And if these stories have resonated with you and you want to learn how you could prevent your family from ever having to deal with their own probate horror story if something were to happen to you, then please schedule an initial 15-minute call with me this week. This will give you the opportunity to see what your options are for your family and to learn more about how our unique process works to create plans that will actually work when your family needs it to in order to keep them out of court and out of conflict. You can schedule that 15-minute call with me directly on my calendar by going to myestatemeeting.com. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell next to it to be notified for new videos I post each week. And if you like it, then please hit the like button. And if you know someone that needs to hear this, please share it with them. If you have a question or comment, please leave it. And if you ever have any questions about this topic or need to talk about your estate planning needs, you can set up a time to talk with me over the phone for free by going to myestatemeeting.com. That's myestatemeeting.com. Again, this is Elliott Feldman, estate planning attorney at the Elliott Feldman Law Group, where we create estate plans that actually work when your loved ones need it most. Take care.